ज्ञानाञ्जन चक्षुरुं मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा गदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सागररघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So the last sections, two classes we saw sloka number 40 to 53, importance of understanding karma yoga. So Krishna, after giving the knowledge about science of self-realization, Atma Sakshakaram, he was giving a specific section in which he wants to emphasize Arjuna to perform his duty and not to fail in perform his duty. So that is the most important aspect, because Arjuna was trying to bring out all kinds of actions, that all kinds of reasons that he will not perform or he does not want to perform the his swadharma, right? So Krishna wants to emphasize a very important. He is not talking about the bhakti portion. He's not talking about the jnana portion. He's talking about performance of karma, which is the only way that will liberate him from this material world. That is the only way through which he will be able to get moksham or mukti, whatever be it. So only through karma yoga somebody can perform. So the art of, so Prabhupada also mentioned it's an art. So performance of an action is kind of an art that somebody has to understand with the knowledge and perform it in the right way, in the right perspective. Okay, so that is the aspect that we saw. So mainly important aspect is whatever that right action that we do, it does not have any kind of a failure. It does not have any kind of a negativity. All that you have to do is just perform as per the rules and regulations, and it will definitely help us in moving away from our current material mode to a different mode. So even a small trayato mahato bayat, even a small endeavor, whatever that we try to do, that we whenever we say performance of an action, this action is aligned as per the swadharma, not the vikarma portion or the bad qualities of it. The actual dharma that if you want to perform, it will definitely take you away from the material bondage. Even a small step, it will give a lot of better good results for us. Okay, so importance of that understanding. And then we saw the sakama karma yoga. Whatever if somebody is trying to perform an yoga which is kind of action that is kind of more towards his sense gratification and material gains, it will actually what will it will perpetually bondage. So Prabhupada is making that what is a, if he is going to have that, then he is going to be continuously in a selfish mode, and then it is actually binding him. People will not even understand that. So that is the second point. Then selfless action. The most important understanding is I do it for selfishness and then selfless. It does not here mean it is giving to Lord or offering to the Lord. It is all just the, that is the previous one is called the sakama karma. The second one is called the nishkama karma. Only if somebody performs nishkama karma, then only he will have a chance, he will get an opportunity. Within that sakarma karma, what has happened? The ego is completely destroyed. The self requirement is completely destroyed. The detachment slowly starts. It's not that detachment is already started. Okay, detachment will start only little later when you give it up, when you start offering to the Lord. Now it is all without ego, without any kind of a expectation, just performing selfless action. So this is nishkama karma yoga. So we have to differentiate between sakama karma yoga, nishkama karma yoga, and then yoga which becomes akarma yoga. That is at the higher level where you perform it, you perform without any expectation, but at the same time you perform it for the pleasure of the Lord. Okay, that is the next level. So for spiritual liberation, for moving away from this material world, you have to have the Nishkama Karma Yoga importantly. So this section is all about that particular thing. Okay, so you need to understand between a Sakama Karma Yoga and Nishkama Karma Yoga. Sakama is always desire. it is more of based on whatever that we want, and our attachment is always there towards the result. I want to do it, I have to somehow, and then if the expectation is not met, then we are getting into a lot of problems. And then Nishkama Karma Yoga is desireless, which means you have to perform for the sake of performing it. And then slowly it will go into the dedication to the Supreme Lord. Then it will get into liberation. So the goal for Nishkama Karma Yoga is towards devotional service. Goal of Nishkama Karma Yoga is not that, okay, I'll keep on performing, because this in this material world, many of the society people who are performing a lot of good karma all fall under Nishkama Karma Yoga. But whether they are doing 100% devotion service means no, they are following the path. At some point of the time, they will do that with devotion service. But still, they are okay compared to the Sakama Karma. There are many philanthropists, many donors, many of them will perform desirelessly. They will do a lot of Annadanam, they'll do, it's all good. But whether it is taking directly to the Supreme Lord or it is just for the sake of performing Nishkama Karma Yoga. So that is the difference, or a subtle difference between a Nishkama Karma Yoga versus a devotional Karma Yoga. Okay, devotion. That is what is Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness. That will come in the next section. So, however, it will help us to move away from this material world. Shanti Madhigachiti. It will give peacefulness. It will give happiness. Whatever be it. Okay, today I perform this yajna. Today I perform this dana karma. Today I perform some kind of a tapasya. Whatever be it, it will get into that portion. So this is what the difference we should know. Most importantly, Prabhupada is also emphasizing a point like, why are we having this Sakama Karma Yoga? First of all, because this mind is so much of polluted with lot of desires through the sense organs. Somebody has to move away from the material desires. Desires are always keep continuously coming. It is like water, free flow of waterfalls. Like no, somewhere it keeps on coming, right? So the next section, what Krishna wants us to understand, and Prabhupada wants to make an important point, is for a spiritual person, for us to get a gain in the understanding of moving towards the devotion service, from Sakama to Nishkama to the devotion service, transcending the material desires is the most important aspects. Okay, which requires resoluteness, which requires unwaveringness. Vyavasayatmika buddhir, that nature where which you will be able to have that buddhi, the buddhi portion, the intelligence portions overcomes the mind, and then you will get into that. Okay, so there is no dvanda means the dualities. We should never have that, oh, this is a loss, oh, this is a gain. We have to have that equipoised state, because Vedas give us everything. But what we have to do, Vedas mainly deal with the flowery words of, mainly deal with Nistraganyo Bhavarjana. What Krishna is saying, Veda Vinasa. So at one level, Vedas will talk only about the Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna portion, and according to that guna, you will get this benefit. If you follow this, you will get this. If you follow this aspect, you will get. But what Krishna is asking us to do, go beyond the modes. Think about what is the purpose of the real Vedas. So that is where he will talk about the analogy about well analogy. Okay, a small cup of water versus a well. So Vedas is kind of a full reservoir of well. But if you want to take only a little bit of one bucket of water, one small this thing, then it also suffices our response. But we have to go a little more detail into that. But there are other advantages. What are the advantages of having that equanimity? We will be able to move away from pleasure and pain. We will not worry about good and bad. We will not worry about profit and loss. We will not about whatever happens, it is okay. And third important is, it will help us to move away from fear, because in this material world, every aspect, every step has got a fear factor. Inability to perform thing also leads to fear. Okay, result of some action also leads to fear. Whatever be it, this kind of a attitude, this kind of a growing mentality, I'll say growing mentality, because it doesn't come equal, it doesn't come just like that. It has to be grown, it has to be nurtured. Slowly we will get that. Then it will help us to overcome fear. It will be able to make us understand, if something comes also, we will be able to have that stability in our mind and our focused attention, and our desires will slowly start channelizing. So that is the importance of understanding this path of economy, and Krishna wants to understand that aspect. Okay, and the ultimate goal, when Krishna talks about karmanyavadikara, say perform your duty, which will only be able to move you from this particular section. So Krishna emphasizes this point, and then finally he makes this understanding. What is that? You perform your duty sincerely, you have to do without hesitation. That is most important thing. And dedicate your all your work to the Supreme Lord. So slowly, performance of actions, dedication will lead to freedom. Will lead to move away from this material world. So karma bandha vinirmukta. All we have to try to do is how am I going to move away from this karma bandha, this bondage. That is what is the important aspect. So when he finishes this section, he's talking about the person who will do this will have a steady mind. So this will trigger Arjuna the question about who is that particular person. And then it will get into the next section of mind control and intelligence. Okay. So the highest teaching of Karma Yoga is all about getting towards this Jivatma, moving from a standard normal sakama. And 90% of the people who are here because of their own sufferings and karma are all towards sakama Karma Yoga. But goal is moving away from Sakama to Nishkama. And this is the highest teaching from a Karma Yoga perspective. But Prabhupada is making that point. Yes, performance of Karma Yoga is very useful. Yes, if somebody wants to do it, please do it. But that beyond the Karma Yoga is something called as the devotion service. To get the devotion service, you need to have Jnana Yoga. You need to get the knowledge. So after some point of the time, you will see within these three yogas itself, Bhagavad Gita keep revolving back and forth. Devotion service means it includes Karma Yoga also. Devotion service means you have to understand Jnana, which means you have to have a little bit of Jnana Yoga also. So in a way, it will keep cycling, but the progress is towards the bhakti, towards the devotion service, towards the samadhi, towards surrender to the Supreme Lord. Okay. Any questions in this section before we get into the next section of Sthitadhira, steadiness, Buddhi Yoga? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not getting to this section. Okay, so we have seen till 48, 49. Okay, then we will get into this section of understanding. Okay, 53 onwards. I think we should get into Flavari Vedas. This also I think we have already covered. Okay, Shruti Vipratipannate Yada Stayati Nischalaha Samadho Achala Buddhi Chalam Achalam Tada Yogam Avapsasi. I think this is what we have to understand. Okay. Okay, let's start with 22.54. Yeah, please, Prabhuji Mata. Who wants to start? Maybe you can start from the bottom, from the.
Arjuna Uvacha Shita Pasha Samadhi Staya Keshava Stitadi Kim Prabhasheta Kim Hasita Vrajeta Kim. Synonyms. Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna said, Stita Pranyasya, of one who is situated in fixed Krishna consciousness. Ka, what? Then Bhasha, language. Samadhi Stasya, of one situated in trance. Keshava, O Krishna. Sthitadi, one fixed in Krishna consciousness. Kim, what? Prabhasheta, speaks. Kim, how? Asita, does remain still. Brajeta, walks. Kim, how? Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus emerging?
Transcendence, Prabhu.
Okay. How does he speak and what is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk? Purport. As there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation, similarly, one who is Krishna conscious has his particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as rich man, as a deceased man has his symptoms by which he is known as deceased. or as a learned man has his symptoms, so man is transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptoms from the Bhagavad Gita. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks. For speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak, and certainly a well dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow as stated below.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, what when somebody speaks, what and all you can get in a typical understanding. Leave about Krishna conscious way. Typically, when somebody starts speaking, right, Prabhupada is importantly bringing out certain aspect. But from your normal day-to-day life, what and all you will be able to infer. Okay, leave out understanding. Infer from a typical somebody talking.
We can, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, we can come to know like what type of a person is that we can judge a little bit.
How?
Like if somebody is coming and speaking in a very rude way, we can say that the person is tense, like somebody is
Okay,
tense, somebody is
that's
angry.
all. So if somebody is talking rude, we know he is very angry.
Yeah.
Okay. Leave out the judgment portion. All I'm asking is somebody
Swabhava.
coming and
Their
talking,
nature is revealed, Prabhu.
nature is revealed. Okay.
Yes.
Then,
And Prabhuji, I mean, people like, for example, if someone is a doctor, so he will try to, in a normal conversations, he'll try to bring some topics regarding to his field. Like if you have a policeman friend, he will just talk some here and there about police. If it is a ticket collector, so they will talk regarding their fields. And
correct.
I
So
think,
some knowledge you will gain. If you based upon the
yes,
person with whom you are talking, let's say he's a lawyer, he's a policeman, he's a teacher, he's this and this person. Based on the knowledge that he possesses, he will try to exhibit that knowledge through some talking, and you should be able to infer, you should be able to siphon that particular knowledge and bring it out. Very good point. Okay. Then.
Yeah, Krishna Babaji, maybe he tried to talk about Krishna. Maybe even, I mean, the way I understand
Leave
is
out
talking
Krishna
about
itself.
him.
Okay. Leave out Krishna itself. Somebody just talking with you. What and all you will be able to infer. Some Mataji mentioned his characteristics of anger, his current behavior he will bring out. Even characteristics also leave out. His behavior towards that particular situation, he will exhibit anger. Amit Prabhu mentioned he will bring out his knowledge, so we can try to bring that knowledge portion and then understand. Okay, then
Even Prabhuji, the background of that person also we can.
background to some extent,
Some
okay, yeah,
extent.
to some extent, it may not be fully 100%. To
Yeah.
some extent, you
But
will be
some
able to.
extent you will come to.
Correct. Okay.
His action.
His action. What is his? Can I say intention?
Yeah, because while he's speaking, based on his uh, nature of work,
Nature.
or that will come out, and then we can figure out.
Okay. Then
What is in his mind, Prabhuji?
what is in his mind? What is in his mind? Perfect. Okay. So many things will come. Okay. Why this is? It looks like a very simple thing, right? You might have come across this particular phenomena in your day-to-day life, but most importantly, you should be using your buddhi, you should be using your intelligence to understand what the outcome of that particular conversation is. What is the actual intention? The words might come out something, but his intention might be good. His intention might be something totally wrong, but his words will be very like flowery. Oh, fantastic! You're doing absolutely good. You know what is actual intention. So like that, there will be so much of inferences that you can, like Amit Prabhu mentioned, when somebody talks about a prescription, where he goes to a doctor will exhibit his knowledge and say, this is how it has happened, this is how it has happened, you have to do. So it can be an advice, it can be a knowledge, whatever be it. Anything that is required to understand about that personality will come out based on his either his action or the words that he wants to talk, right? Somebody will just keep on blabbering, you might understand that, oh, he's very good, wow, fantastic. Okay, like about this politicians, right? They keep on talking, but after a few minutes, you should be able to understand, you should be able to evaluate and say, oh, this is just for the sake of talking, nothing, no real hard, no real truth, or it is nothing, it is just only without foundation. So lot of emphasis, lot of understanding is based upon somebody talking. Somebody will not talk at all, they will say yes, no, okay. So you will never be able to understand that, but at least you will know that, okay, this is the character of that person, and then accordingly you will be able to make some certain judgments, certain decisions. Somebody will, after 2 minutes only, they will respond back. Somebody will keep on thinking only. Somebody will immediately say, and they say, oh, sorry. So there are many personalities, many dynamic behaviors you might undergo, but it is all based on the experience of that particular conversation. You will know them little better. You will know, for example, somebody known to you as a very close relative, their behavior is always like that, and somebody will be always shouting, but internally their heart will be pure. So whatever be it, we can make some decisions and judgments, correct? So in that way, Arjuna is also trying to understand that particular personality, because a person with a sthita dhir, with a steady intelligence, will require a lot of conviction, lot of knowledge, lot of determination, but outwardly we may not be able to know that person. But the opportunity to, when you try to converse with that person, will get you more knowledge. The ultimate aim is what? Ultimate aim of the conversation in Rama's characteristics, one of the best characteristics, hitakamyaya. Hitakamyaya means Rama, when he doesn't talk like anything, like anybody. He talks only to the point, exactly to whatever is required, and he will talk very smilingly, which means he wants to ensure the other person does not get affected. And most importantly, he will talk whatever is beneficial for the other person. He will talk beneficial for the society, whatever he comes with. That is why he is called as Hitakamyaya. Okay. So just by talking with that person also, you will feel like so happy, right? Many of us wait, like when you go and meet your old friends, or some personalities, when you just go and talk with them, you will be happy, right? Why? Because their intentions are always good, their focus is always on a higher level, and they don't talk any kind of a normal things, right? So it all depends upon the characters and personality behavior. So that is why Arjuna is want to understand this point. How does he talk? How does he sit? How does he walk? Even if you go a little more detailed in terms of understanding, walking is also why is so important, and talking is also important, sitting is also important. These are all the traits or the personality behavior that will ensure that person is on a higher platform or a higher understanding level. Why are we doing that? So that we will try to, the main understanding is, what is the experience that I can gain to improve on my personality? What is that I will be able to get the knowledge of that person? So that is the intention. Okay. And intention should be to ensure that you get the required understanding from that. It's not that you go and argue with that person and try to make, so they will never get bothered also, right? So intention should be, our intention should be very clear. At the same time, we should understand the knowledge. Okay, clear? Let's go to the next question. Next sloka. So Prabhupada, like how Shriram Prabhu mentioned, the immediate symptom, there are multiple symptoms. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious, Prabhupada is so wonderfully putting, no, he's not just putting something like, okay, the symptoms. Symptom means it can be very generic. Sometimes symptoms keeps changing based on the Desha Kala Patra, based upon the situations. But Prabhupada is making nicely, the immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious person is that he speaks of Krishna, only of Krishna, and matters relating. Okay, and others matters will follow. He is not saying no, nothing, but others also will follow as it is. Clear? So let's go. So you might assume, what is this? It's a very simple sloka, but within the sloka, so much of deep knowledge, deep understanding that we will be able to get to do proper understanding, proper decision making. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I'll read. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kamna Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmanyevatma Tushtaha Sthita Pragya Stodat Dochyate Tadochyate. Synonym. Sri Bhagwan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Prajahati gives up, Yada, when, Kaman, desire for sense gratification, Sarvan, of all varieties, Partha, O son of Partha, Managatan, of mental concoction, Atmani, in the pure state of the soul, Eva, certainly, Atmana, by the purified mind, Tushta, satisfied, Sthita Prajna, transcendentally situated, Tada, at that time, Uchyate, is said. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all variety of desire for sense gratification, which arises from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Purport: The Bhagwan affirms that any person
Bhagavatam, Prabhu, sorry.
yeah, sorry. The Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness or devotional service of the Lord has all the good qualities of the great sages, whereas a person who is not so transcendently situated has no good qualifications because he is sure to be taking refuge in his own mental concoctions. Consequently, it is rightly said herein that one has to give up all kind of sense desire manufactured by mental concoction. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous efforts. Therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation, for this devotional service will instantly help one onto the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendently situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
So very clear, direct understanding.
Yeah.
He gives all varieties of sense. So there's nothing all this, that, and all. He gives up all varieties of sense gratification from mental concussion. The main thing is it is all because of our mental concussion. Okay, when his mind and thus become purified, he finds satisfaction. Okay, thank you. Next one.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's go. Any Matajis?
Hare Krishna. Text 56. Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha sukeshu vigata sprahaha vita raga bhaya krodha stita dhira muniruchyate. Dukkeshu, in the threefold miseries, anudvigna manaha, without being agitated in mind, sukheshu, in happiness, vigata sprahaha, without being interested, vita, free from, raga, attachment, bhaya, fear, krodha, and anger, sthita, diha, whose mind is steady, muniha, a sage, uchyate, is called. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. Purport: The word Muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. It is said that every Muni has a different angle of vision, and unless a Muni differs from other Munis, he cannot be called a Muni in the strict sense of the term. Nashava Rishir Yasya Matam Na Bhinnam. Mahabharat Vanaparvat 313.117. But a Sthita Dhira Muni, as mentioned herein by the Lord, is different from an ordinary Muni. The Sthita Dhira Muni is always in Krishna consciousness, for he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. He is called Prashanta Nihashesha Mano Rathantara, Strota Ratna 43, or one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculation has come to a conclusion that Lord Shri Krishna or Vasudeva is everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. He is called a Muni fixed in mind. Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds, and he sees that his miseries, by the grace of the Lord, are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. He realizes that it is due only to the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. And for the service of the Lord, he is always daring and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. Attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment, because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry even when his attempts are unsuccessful. Success or no success, a Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful purport. So when we read through the purport, Prabhupada will come and sit in front of us. Many times when we read through the purport, Prabhupada's voice should come to your ears. It's like as though Prabhupada himself coming and telling to us. So the Prabhupada appreciation, why we call it as Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's purport, because Prabhupada himself is sitting here and then conversing with us to give this wonderful knowledge. He's making points like so clearly. Similarly when he's happy, he gives credit to the Lord. So when we get dukkam, when you get this dukkam, what are the threefold miseries?
आध्यात्मिक, आदि भौतिक, and आदि दैविक.
Adhyatmic, Adi Baudik, Adi Daivik. So whatever problem that comes from natural calamities, Adi Daivik, Adi Atmik, whatever that comes from others, it can be anybody. And then the one that is based on the actions of our own self, Adhyatmic. So whatever we try to, so miseries or problems are always categorized into these three only. Any problem that you take will fall under these three categories, whatever be the situation. Then when we know the root cause of the problem, then we'll be able to do a proper resolution or a solution towards it. So Krishna is talking Dukkeshu Anudvigmanaha Sukeshu Vigatas. The word Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha is the most important thing. So coming out of Raga, Bhaya and anger is the most important for somebody to have a steady mind. So when somebody is getting so much of problem, he will consider this as what? It is just a testing time for me. All my karma is going away. And in fact, this this difficulty is is only 5% of the actual difficulty I'm supposed to get. Remaining 95% of the difficulty Krishna has already taken away. So I have to undergo this so that my karma cleansing, everything will happen, and it is a testing time for me to always remember Krishna. So when dukkha comes, but when sukham comes, what do we have to do? Everything is belonging. No, when sukham comes, we will say, "Oh, this I am not at all qualified to get this sukham." When somebody glorifies you, when somebody says, "Wow, you have done a good job," and you get a lot of good, nice praising or a lot of good things. So immediately what should I do? I am not at all qualified, but still I'm accepting it because for the service of the Lord. So in that way, either good thing or a bad thing, whatever you can, you'll be able to have a balanced life. So the fear portion will go away, the anger portion also will get subsidized, and the attachment portion also will. So raga, the Sanskrit word for attachment is raga. Okay, so we have to be very clear. How do we understand raga? Vitaraha bhaya. So all these attachment, bhaya and krodha will all come. So Prabhupada is talking about muni. We can clearly understand a normal standard muni versus a sthita dhir muni. So munis will have a lot of mental conflict because they will undergo a certain way of procedural knowledge study. They'll undergo some kind of austerity, and everybody will have their own way of doing, which is correct in their own perspectives. Nobody is going to sit and argue kind of a logician way of arguing with them. So they'll have their own way, but that doesn't mean that they might be 100% true. So they have their own ways. But what Prabhupada is making, or Krishna himself is saying, Sthita Dhir Muni Ruchyate. So even they also undergo a lot of stages and then achieve that particular Sthita Dhir Muni. So Any normal person can become a Muni, no issues about it. But how well he becomes a Sthitadir Muni is up to his own sadhana, own actions. Right? So Prabhupada is making that point very clearly, and Krishna himself is telling he's not an ordinary Muni, a Sthitadir Muni. Okay. The last section is also one fixed in Krishna consciousness, neither attachment or detachment, success or unsuccess, he will still continue to perform his actions. Okay. So from this sloka onwards, the emphasis is on determination. Emphasis is on equipoised nature. Emphasis is on how do I move from. I'm continuing my karma. There's no doubt about it. I'm performing my karma, but karma with a steady state of mind. Karma with a steady intelligence. Okay, and without any kind of an attachment, any kind of a detachment, any kind of fear, any kind of a anger also. Anger comes because of what? Expectations not met. Anger comes because my expectations are not. Anger comes because action is not able to perform properly. So there are many reasons for anger management. We'll come to anger management in the after 72 sloka. 64, 65 sloka talk about anger management. We'll come to that anger management little later. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes,
I have a question. Prabhu, in 2.47, it's mentioned, never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, right? And in this purport, our miseries are due to our past misdeeds, and devotee, right, by the grace of the Lord, consider that the miseries are minimized. How do we understand this, Prabhu? Because there it said, you never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities.
So when we say there the point or emphasis is on performance of action without without nishkama, so without any kind of a desire to get that particular result of it. So there the point was, you perform your action, don't assume everything has happened because of you. Okay, so that is very clearly mentioned that no, it is because of this one. That there it is not talking about the result of it. It is more about owning that particular action of it. Okay, but here very clearly differentiating between whatever that particular person gets the output of it, and then the resultant of decision of that output. Like let's say I'm doing this and I'm getting the output, but whether I'm qualified or not qualified, it is up to the Supreme Lord's will, then I'm going to accept it. That's all.
Okay, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Nice question, Prabhu. Thank you.
Prabhuji, just to add what Prabhuji asked, I mean, I think when we think about it ultimately, I mean, this is my question and understanding I want to clear. So when we go up the chain and ultimately we think that what was our first karma? Karma as a jeev, karma as a soul, which started all of these things, that we have our product and then we are just voguing what we have done, good or bad. I mean, it's the cycle of those karmas. And ultimately, when we think that what was our first karma, so there, I mean, at least me, I get confused sometimes. I mean, what I have read or I try to understand is, there is no thing called as a first karma. I mean, for this Nitya Bhad souls, if I'm correct, karma is like flowing water or river. It's just happening, and then, I mean, obviously, when it's flowing like a water, there will be plus and minus. And since we are still in this world, that will keep on getting accumulated. And I mean, we can't escape that. The only escape is a devotional service, which will eventually help us. So is that understanding correct? Because this question has come into my mind many times, that question of first karma of the soul.
Yeah, give me 1 second, bro. Okay, Prabhu, okay, yeah. In a way, you don't have to not contemplate too much on this first karma portion. Okay, so it is like, yeah, the right understanding is on the perspective of seeing it as a free flow of water. It will keep coming, going. The cleaning also will happen. More dust also will add. Let's say water flowing in the river. Sometimes it will clean up one place, and then again something else will during rainy time. During summer time, this lot of dust and accumulation, everything will happen. During winter time, it gets cleaned. So it keeps coming and going, which is absolutely correct in a way where the understanding is there. That is absolutely right. But most importantly, when you start understanding the karma, loss of karma, we don't have to get too much about what happened earlier, because whatever is supposed to come, it will definitely come. So let's not get into it anyway. But how are we going to, two aspects? One is how are we going to face the result of the karma. Second, how are we going to do a new karma? When we are going to perform a new karma, to what extent we are aware. That's all. So these two will make you do a better way. So in a way, it'll emphasize that point of, okay, whatever it comes, I should be in a steady state to accept it. And whatever I'm going to perform now, I have to be a little more careful. That's all. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So third chapter and fifth chapter, we'll go a little more deep. We'll do some quick workshops on third chapter also, so that you will be able to understand. Okay, that's good. Okay, maybe 2 minutes break we will take. Okay, we'll take a 2 minutes break and then come back. Hare Krishna.
Whatever good he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. There is always some uphill in the material world, which may be good or evil. One who is not agitated by such material upheavals, who is unaffected by good and evil, is to be understood to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one is in the material world, there is always the possibility of good and evil, because this world is full of duality. But one is fixed in Krishna consciousness, is not affected by good and evil, because he is simply concerned with Krishna, who is all good, absolute. Such consciousness in Krishna situates one in a perfect transcendental position called technically samadhi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So one who is fixed in a transcendental position is called samadhi. Okay. Now let's say I will ask you a question where, how do you understand between should we now this particular thing is talking about good and evil. Okay, sthita pragya pradishta. The sthita pragya portion is already na binnati na dveshti tasya pragya. Taddat prapya subha asubham. Subha asubham means good and bad. Whatever happens will be. So in general understanding, should we really worry or should we not worry? Not worry. Whatever happens, should we worry or should we not worry?
I mean, generally we will worry, Prabhuji. I mean,
Generally,
for instance, because that is human nature in general.
human nature. Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna
See,
Prabhuji. If the person is connected spiritually, I have seen like they don't get, bewildered with such things. They react less. Whereas we react very fast.
Right. Tomorrow something happens to, in touch wood, something happens. Will you worry or will you not worry? That is a question.
We will
Yes,
worry,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
We will worry. Obviously, we'll worry. Right? So how do we understand this sloka, and then we will say, oh, this sloka is talking about don't worry. But we'll worry. Then how do we understand it? Oh, Krishna is asking us not to worry, or Krishna is giving some other message.
Yeah, I mean, Prabhuji, just to share my understanding, yes, we will worry. And by having knowledge of Gita, because we know this, duality is there. I mean, the point is sadness, happiness, all there. But again, we will come out faster from that situation, and we try to focus what it is expected to do. I mean, that is my understanding.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Thank you, Prabhu. So that is what the important point. So when something comes, how fast we come out of it is most important. Either good or bad. Okay. Tadat prapya asubhasumam. So sarvatra, so everywhere it will be like that. But how well we are able to come out of it is the most important aspect. Either it is bad or even good also. You cannot be always floating in the air. So that is what is the point. So he'll be in a very fixed state. So he will come, something comes, he will try to react for that, and then but not to an extent where he's getting affected. He will exhibit that worriness, he'll exhibit that concern, he will exhibit the concern, he'll exhibit the sorrow, even crying also. Doesn't matter. But to not to an extent where it will affect the person, affect the actions, it will affect the next course of actions, it will affect next thing. No, it will not affect that person's next thing, next thinking, willing, whatever be it. He will exhibit those qualities, the characteristics, but internally it will not affect. So which means he will be able to come out, he or she will be able to come out of it very quickly and continue with their normal day-to-day life. Either good or bad. Somebody praises you, you will be always like, wow, today happened this, they gave, but it only for a few seconds only. Then you just have to keep going. Okay.
Prabhu, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I wanted to ask, I had heard in a lecture where it was about hopelessness and helplessness, that Dronacharya, when he heard about the Ashwatthama killing, he lost hope and he just sat down and he just gave up. Whereas Arjuna, he saw Abhimanyu right dead in front of him, but he did get affected, but then he still rose up and fought. So,
Nice.
so is this right to understand what you are explaining right now?
Exactly, Mataji. Exactly. So when Abhimanyu was about to be cremated that evening, everybody were worried. Even Arjuna also started crying. Everybody before the cremation of Abhimanyu, everybody were very angry, including Pandavas. Everybody were angry because he was brutally killed. Okay, Arjuna, after having so much of knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, everything, he was also worried. He was also crying. But immediately he was able to bring back his steady state, and then he took a vow. What is that? Whomsoever killed, whomso the main person killed, I will ensure that person is getting killed, or that person gets punished, whatever be it. So that is where you'll be able to understand. For the Dronacharya's point of view, he kept his hope on a wrong person, wrong attachment. So hope with attachment is wrong. He had so much of attachment to his son that hope itself became his own enemy. We should have hope, but where to place the hope is most important. He became hopeless because he placed his hope on a wrong object or a wrong personality or wrong thing. So that is where he went into that. If he put the hope on Krishna, whatever comes will be able to. But he put the hope and attachment towards his own son, and he was not able to come back. But it's a good, nice, very nice comparison point, Mataji. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's keep going. Yada samharate chayam kurmangani sarvasaham indriyar. This word is very nice word throughout Bhagavad Gita. Indriyar artebhyaha. So very nice Sanskritly it is coming. Indriyar indriyatebhyaha. Indriya artebhyaha. Okay, indriya artebhyaha. Very nice meter. Okay. So let's go. Please continue.
यथा संहर्ते चायं कुर्मु ज्ञानीय सर्वस्या इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता यदा when संहर्ते winds up ch also I am he kurmartha kurmo tortoise Jnani limbs Eve like Sarvasha altogether Indriyani senses Indyartebhyasya from the sense object Tasya his prajna consciousness Pratishtata fixed. His guest Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who is able to withdraw his senses from the sense object as tortoise draws his limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in the perfect consciousness. His grace, Srila Prabhupada, is a purport by Srila Prabhupada. The taste of yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul is that he is able to control his senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and thus directed by the dictation of the senses. That is the answer to the question as how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act as very loosely and without restrictions. The yogi or devotee be the yogi or devotee must be very strong to control serpents like a snake charmer. He never allows them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the river scripture. Some of them are do not are, and some of them are do's. Unless one is able to follow the do's and don't do's, restricting oneself from the sense enjoyment, it is not possible to firmly fix in Krishna consciousness. The best example set herein is a tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment wind up his senses and exhibit them again at any time for a particular purpose. Similarly, the senses of the Krishna consciousness person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. Arjuna is therefore taught here to use his senses for the service of Lord instead of his own satisfaction. Keeping the saints always in the service of Lord is an example set by analogy of the tortoise who keeps his senses within. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So very straightforward understanding, but here the sloka is moving towards steady mind, intelligence, towards a very important concept, very important concept. What is that concept? Anybody can tell? What is the main important topic of this sloka?
Controlling our senses.
Exactly. So slowly Krishna will bring the importance of the senses. So he started somewhere, but slowly moving towards what is the important factor. The most important factor is throughout thing is about controlling the senses. That is the fundamental aspect. So he's giving an analogy. Krishna himself giving the analogy of Kurma Angani. Okay, Kurma Angani Sarvasaha. So altogether, the word sarvasaha is very important. So it is not that some portion of the senses alone getting controlled. All together, when some danger comes, the tortoise will just pull in all its limbs so that it will be protected, fully protected, completely protected. Indrani Indriya Artyabhya. Senses Indra Artyabhya. Artyabhya means the objects. So in the 64 sections, we're going to go about sense control, mind control, intelligence, and all. So the object of senses is the main enemy for us. Like you see something, you'll get attracted. You hear something, you get attracted. You smell something, you get attracted, and you touch something, you get attracted. So through the sense organs, that objects are being designed, created for attraction. For some, it might be attracted, for some, it might not. But whatever be it, the purpose of the creation is to get attraction. You create a beautiful thing and nobody sees it, then it becomes a. So whatever the purpose is always there for that. But how well that indriyas not get affected is the most important aspect. Okay, and an important factor is what I want to like how Shriram Prabhu has mentioned. How well everybody will be attracted, everything will be in that way, but how well we are able to come back or restrict and then channelize and refrain is the most important aspect. There was this in Singapore. If you go to the old places, you will see one Chinese philosopher called as Confucius. Okay, similar to, you might have studied in your school syllabus, similar to this Aristotle, similar to this what is his name, Pluto, all the Greek mythological philosophers. Even in China also there are a lot of, so he took the leaf, he took a lot of content from Bhagavad Gita, he wrote his own way. In one of the main point he was trying to emphasize is everybody will fall down, but the success is depending upon how quickly somebody gets up or wakes up. So understanding is, yes, we will get into a lot of sensual attractive this one, but how well we are getting quickly taking it out or moving it out or being very cautious about it, that's all. Okay, so that person is the Sthita Pragya person. So it is not that 100% everything always, no, right? So that is where Krishna brings the qualities and characteristics of that particular thing. Okay, even the previous sloka also, what Tasya now. So this Sthita Pragya and the 57th sloka is what? He's not unaffected by the present, the result of it. But here he might get an opportunity to get affected, but he will never get affected. So immediately he will be able to get. So it requires practice, it requires patience, it requires determination, everything. So you sometimes will succumb, but how fast we are able to come out of the succumbition is the main portion of it. Okay.
Shrinan Prabhu, can I ask something?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji.
Prabhu, because the topic is about controlling the senses, Prabhu, as we see the examples in Bhagavatam, like Kardam Muni and Devavati, the lectures were going on. So, Prabhu, I ask you this from this.
There's a little voice break, Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhu, sorry. I ask you this from the perspective of a woman, not as an opposite party. I ask you this from because compared to the man, woman tends to have very simple desires, but then they are very strong. They are very strong. So, and for the as Prabhupada writes in his purports many times that if woman is not controlled, then she is most dangerous. So similarly, in this context, I wanted to ask you that we hear the sometimes the logic that the person who has diabetes, how much he craves for the sugary things. He wants sweets. He wants sweets. So similarly, how do you balance? Is it? Please correct me on this understanding that having it a bit, and then gradually it will go away, or you just control it with your steady buddhi yoga mind and just stop it, and then gradually mind learns not to crave for it.
So, Mataji, in my understanding, in my own experience, and then others' experience whom have shared with me, and Shastra Praman also, you cannot do it from the first initially itself. Oh yes, let me no, it will not happen. It is highly impossible, and there is a lot of chances of fall down. Bit by bit only is the my point of view, and then recommendation also, and then all of them also the same thing, because there are a lot of chances to go back and fall down again and again. So better to go slowly and steadily. That is the understanding. And the first point of about you mentioned about Kardama Muni Dehuti, they had a higher purpose. And Kardama Muni was very clear from Bhagavatam perspective. He was not ready to marriage, but he had a higher purpose because he had an instruction. He had to follow the instruction. Devati also, she was a princess. She had the wonderful everything, but she's just followed her father's instructions to get married to a Muni. At that point of time, he was in a completely different state of mind. But still, she persuaded him to have children because of the purpose of a higher need, higher cause. So they underwent the Grahastha Ashrama, but both of them had a very clear understanding that at some point of the time, their Grahastha Ashrama will have to get into Vanaprastha and they have to move away. And they were destined to get a better way of devotion service from a standard normal grahastha life to a highest level when they get into the vanaprastha life. That is why after a point of time, our Kardama Muni decided, he just immediately went back to his own sadhana practice. Same time, he gave an instruction to follow whatever his son is going to give the knowledge. So immediately she just surrendered to her own son, and then she got the required knowledge. There were difficulty times, there were situations, but still her mind was very clear, that her goal was very clear. Somehow or other, I have to be attached either to my husband's instruction, my father's instruction first before marriage, then my husband's instructions, then I'll follow whatever my son says. That's it. So either way, so that is where Prabhupada is trying to give that point of having that word control. The word control there is to ensure that they are being properly protected. At the same time, they also are taking those protection very seriously and then accepting that protection. Acceptance of promotion is the major aspect of women. If they don't accept that promotion, they'll have to get into a lot of difficulties. Okay, Mataji.
But just asking into this thing, what you said, that if at all that desire, she would have just curbed it. She would have just curbed it, and she continued serving Kardam Muni. So I'm asking on the basis of curbing the desire, nothing more. My whole point is on that.
Curbing? No, she doesn't. She didn't want to have that curbing the desire. See, sometimes what will happen? No, we will try to have our own desires, but sometimes there will be some forced things that will come into our own way of desire, which will be like kind of um, uh, enforced by the Paramatma with sitting inside us, so that will come as a desire for us. Okay, outwardly it might look like, okay, it is my desire, but it will be the desire of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so her desire was to get son, her desire was to this one, but actually it was destined by the Krishna, the Supreme Lord himself. As you rightly pointed out, she can be like, no, I don't want anything, I'll be just serving. But beyond that, there was a force from our higher providence coming from Krishna, that she has to get her son, and through her son we will all get this devotion service. So her desire was invoked in that way, and then she was able to present or put her desire in the right perspective to Kardamuni, and she got Kapil Dev.
Thank you so much, Dhruv. I just wanted to clear it. Thank you so much.
Yes. So that is where sometimes our desire will be, we will not have a desire, but sometimes we'll be like, I don't know how I desired, I don't know how it came. So it might be at some point of time, it will be the will of the Lord. So just accept it and then just keep going. That's all. Many of them will say, I was never thinking of marriage. Okay, it happens to many of the brahmacharis, many of the women also. But at some point of the time, it will happen automatically. Okay, and then people will say, oh, I was not at all thinking, suddenly it happened. So it will happen, but why it happened, we'll not have the 100% reason. But all that we have to see is, okay, it might be the will of the Lord. So we have to be a little more cautious. But many times the desire will either be like, oh, Krishna wanted me to desire, okay, let me do it. No, that is not the aspect of it. Okay.
I can give one example, Prabhuji, here. I mean, it's just so that, it's very related to the topic. So, since I was a regular at a Sunday program in Sengkang, I always wanted something, a proper study of Bhagavad Gita. And I used to talk to people that how to do that, but Bhakti Shastri course never came up. And once I was in the center, I started going back home. I almost reached MRT, but then I realized I had to meet Mahesh Prabhu. So I came back to the center from MRT. He was sitting on the roof, and there he brought up the topic of Bhakti Shastri course, and he made me immediately message you that you join this course. So that had to happen. I mean, I had that desire, and Krishna made it happen somehow. That I came back from MRT just to meet Mahesh Prabhu, not regarding Bhakti Shastri course, but in general. And there this topic was brought up, and he made me message you, and I was so happy at that time that this happened.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So, Mataji, to answer in a different way, Krishna knows what is better for us. So, even though we might say, I don't have the desire, I can control my desires, but Krishna will try to invoke that desire in such a way that he will fulfill what is required for that particular Jivatma. So, that can come through as a desire also.
True, Prabhu, true. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Let's quickly go. Okay. We'll try to finish till 60, 61. Okay. Then the next important, we'll stop where it talks about mind control. Then we can get it. Okay.
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Bhaji.
Prabhuji.
Mataji, I think am I wrong?
Yeah, you do it. Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's a 2.59. Vishya nirvantate niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopesya param dushtya nirvatate. Synonyms: Vishya, objects for the sense enjoyment. Vivartane, are practiced to be refrained from. niraharasya by negative restrictions, Jaina for the embodied, Rasa Varjam giving up the taste, Rasa sense enjoyment, Api although there is, Asya his, Param for superior things, Drashtva by experiencing, Nivartare he ceases from. Translation: though the embodied soul may be restricted from the sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains, but the ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulation is something like restricting a deceased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restriction nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga, matter of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, etc. It is recommended for less intelligent person who have no better knowledge, but the one who has tasted the beauty of Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for less intelligent neophyte in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna consciousness, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. So the art of higher taste is brought out here. Initially, you will have a understanding to enjoyment of certain things, but the more and more you go for a higher elevated taste, the normal low level of taste will cease to exist. Cease to exist means it will just go away, and slowly you will be able to always think about higher taste. Okay, rasa varjam. The word rasa here is like rasa varjam is giving up that taste. Okay, Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehinasa. Negative reactions, negative restrictions. Slowly, automatically, you will get it. It is not that somebody will force you to stop. It will automatically. So, how it will happen? Param Drishtva Nivartate. When you get higher one, the experience, you have to undergo that experience. That is why many of them will say, without experience, certain things we will never be able to understand. So that is why somebody will leave you out. Okay, you yourself experience, then only you will be able to understand it in a better way. Sometimes we ourselves or our own children will never accept certain aspects. What we will do? Okay, you undergo that pain, undergo that particular situation, then you will be able to get in a better position to accept it, right? So that is the understanding. And Prabhupada is talking about this Ashtanga Yoga and the Niyama portions, everything. It is for lesser people because you have to undergo that process to get the highest level of Samadhi. But somebody who has already tasted Krishna, who has already, so it all depends upon that person only. Okay. Just by seeing Krishna, somebody will be attracted. For example, Radhanath Maharaj, he has never seen anything about anything. All that he had was, if you read through the Journey Home book, you will know all he had is just one photo of Gopala, one small blue photo with a flute, and he was somehow or other attracted. So he was having that photo in his hand, always carrying. Even he was hitchhiking from USA to Europe to London to Turkey, everywhere. Somehow or other, he had little bit of attachment to that particular photo. He didn't know anything about it, but with that one particular taste for that beauty, all the way from hitchhiking, he reached Vrindavan, right? So it all depends upon the taste that we try to. So individually, it might happen. I had one small thing. Somebody just gave me the book. They were about to throw away the book. We were reading Bhagavad Gita some many years ago about everything, but we didn't have the Prabhupada's book. Somebody in our house, he was just moving away, and somebody had given the book to them, and they were about to throw away the book because they cannot travel. So just like that, they gave the book to us, and it was just lying in our house for many years. But somehow or other, the taste was already sowed there, and then we took up that book, and then the journey began. So it depends upon individual person's advancement in Krishna consciousness. But slowly, then it seized away all our other aspects also. Right? So it all depends upon one is in that particular consciousness. It will automatically start. Everybody will have their own experience. Everybody have undergone this experience, their realization also. Somewhere that spark would have come, and then we are all sitting here. Even in the previous sloka, when Mataji was mentioning, because of the desire of Mataji, Devati Mataji, we have Kapila Dev, we have devotion service. Similarly, in one perspective, because of the anger of Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was a big yogi. He was a perfect Raja. At one point of the time, he had a little bit of anger. Because of that anger, we are all sitting here reading Bhagavatam, reading everything. So if you see in that perspective, hey, how would that happen? So sometimes we have to just accept as it is and see because of that. So is it anger? Yes, of course it's an anger, but anger exhibited in certain aspect actually benefited the entire mankind. Hanuman's anger, we'll talk about anger management. I'm just giving you a touch point. Anger management, sometimes that anger, Hanuman's anger is so glorified now. Right? Parikshit Maharaj is in a way where it looks like, oh, because of that anger only, we are all sitting reading Bhagavatam. And Dhruva Maharaj also, he had little bit of anger against his own stepmother. But that anger made him a big devotee. So sometimes we have to see certain aspects in a very different perspective for us to accept and understand it. Outwardly, it might look, hey, what is this? Why is this? So Prabhupada sometimes will put a very, the outward way of putting it is incorrect way of putting it. But actually, when you go a little more detail into the context, then we will be able to appreciate what is the understanding of it. Okay. Okay, let's finish 2 more slokas and then chapter. Okay, please, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. 60th one. यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. Yatatah, while enduring, he certainly, api, in spite of, Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Purushasya, of a man, Vipashchita, full of discriminating knowledge, Indriyani, the senses, Pramatini, agitating, Haranti, throw, Prasabam, by force, Manaha, the mind. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The senses are so strong in impetus, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Purport. There are many learned sages, philosophers, and transcendentalists who try to conquer the senses, but in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim to material sense enjoyment due to the agitated mind. Even Vishwamitra, a great sage and perfect yogi, was misled by Menaka into sex enjoyment, although the yogi was endeavoring for sense control with severe types of penance and yoga practice. And of course, there are so many similar instances in the history of the world. Therefore, it's very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Krishna conscious. Without engaging the mind in Krishna, one cannot cease such material engagements. A practical example is given by Sri Yamunacharya, a great saint and devotee, who says, Yad avadi mama cheta Krishna padaravinde navanava rasa damani udyatam rantum asit tad avadi bata nari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikara sustu nistivanam cha. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whenever I think of sex life with the woman, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. Krishna consciousness is such a transcendently nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. It is as if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. Maharaja Ambarisha also conquered a great yogi, Durvasa Muni, simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness. Savai mana Krishna padaravindayor vachamsi vaikunta gunanu varnani.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
This also sloka is also very nice. Yato hi api kaunteya purushasya vipaschitah. Discriminating knowledge. Okay, how do you understand discriminating knowledge? Quickly. What is discriminating knowledge? Full
Right
of
from wrong?
right and wrong. Okay, then
It's a Vivek Buddhi.
Viveka Buddhi. Correct. Okay, then example. Give me an example.
Are we dovetailing with Krishna consciousness?
Are we dovetailing with Krishna consciousness? Correct. Okay, give me a practical example.
Simple example, waking up early morning or laziness.
Okay. No, give me a practical example. Discriminating. You should be discriminate or should we not discriminate?
Association of devotees and Association of devotees and non-associating with the non-devotees.
Okay, good. Okay. Now, within that also, you have to be a little more deeper. So, when you associate with certain people, to what extent you discriminate, and to associate with some people, you have to ensure that there's more gain for you. But when you associate, you cannot say I will not be able to associate. We'll have to associate, but at the same time, we have to be a little more careful. Okay, good. Thank you. So it is all about how do we put our knowledge in the right perspective of discrimination. That's all. That will be there, but we have to ensure. Okay, haranti prasabam manaha, which means that it will definitely, the mind will definitely get. It is because pramadam in other languages is danger, right? So it is very dangerous. So we have to be very clear that Indriyani Haranti. So just by force, it will just go away, but we have to ensure that we are able to control. So that requires a lot of determination. So that Chitta Pragya person will ensure to bring it back. So here the point again it will have that wavering nature, but how well is able to control and bring it back. Okay, so Prabhupada is giving an example of Vishwamitra also. So he was a great personality, but at some point of the time it was misled, and then he had to. But one good thing is he was able to come back. He want to realize. He came up. He stood up. He arose immediately, and then he was able to continue. So, which in a way, this loka is actually glorifying Vishwa. Somebody will say, "Oh, Vishwamitra, he himself failed." No. We should not. We should not think that way. So, Prabhupada is actually glorifying Vishwamitra in a way where even great personalities will fall, but after falling, he was able to get into a bigger, higher purpose, higher goal. So many things he did, right? So in a way, it will happen. But how do we take that particular thing as a lesson learned and then progress well? Okay. So Prabhupada is giving another example of Yamunacharya from Sri Sampradaya. Yamunacharya, when Cheta Krishna Padharamende Bhavati Mukha Vikara Sushune. So whenever I Navanava Rasa, so Navanava Rasa means you will keep on getting all kind of attack. Navanava means continuously new things will keep on coming. But when your mind is always fixed on Krishna Padharamende, it is like spitting at the face. Okay, that is the understanding. So, and Prabhupada is also giving the example of Maharishi Ambarisha. The previous sloka, two analogies are from an examination point of view. One is about Kurma Ganisa, other one is about snake charmer. So in those days, you will see how the snake comes out. Snake is not hearing the music of the particular person's playing the whatever flute or whatever. Snake is actually turning its heads based upon the actions performed or movement of the particular snake charmer. Okay, so he is controlling that through his way, right? Same way it will come out, but how well we are keep on controlling it. So that is, there are two analogies in the previous sloka. This sloka also three, four references, examples, talking about Vishwamitra, talking about Ambarish Maharaj and others. Okay, the last sloka we'll stop with 60. Yeah, we'll stop with 61. Then tomorrow, next Wednesday, we'll get into art of mind control and intelligence. Okay, yeah. Please read Prabhuji's or Mataji. Yeah,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, where this?
Hare Krishna.
Mataji. Go ahead.
Okay. Hare Krishna. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. तानि, those senses, sarvani, all, संयम्यम, keeping under control, yuktaha, engaged, asit, should be situated, matparaha, in relation with me, vashe, in full subjugation, he, certainly, yasya, one whose, indriyani, senses, tasya, his, pragya, consciousness, pratisthita, fixed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. That, purport, that the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control senses. As cited above, the great sage Durvasa Muni picked a quarrel with Maharaj Ambrish, and Durvasa Muni unnecessarily became angry out of pride, and therefore could not check his senses. On the other hand, the king, although not as powerful a yogi as the sage, but a devotee of the Lord, silently tolerated all the sage's injustices and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualifications as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.18 to 20. Savai manah krishna padara vindayor vachamsi vaikuntha gunanuvarnane karau harer mandira marjanadishu shrutim chakarat च्युत सतकथोदये मुकुन्दलिङ्गाय दर्शने द्रशौ तद्भृत्य गात्रस्पर्शे अङ्गसङ्गमं ग्रहणं च तत्पादसरोजसौरभे श्रितं तुलास्य रसनाम तत् अर्पिते पादौ हरे क्षेत्र पदानुसर्पणे श्री ऋषिकेशपदाभिवन्दने कामं च दास्ये न तु कामकामया यथोत्तमश्लोक जनाश्रया रतिः. King Ambrish fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the form of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotees, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulasi leaves offered to him, his legs in traveling to the holy place where his temple is situated, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become Matpara devotee of the Lord. The word Matpara is most significant in this connection. How one can become Matpara is described in the life of Maharaj Ambrish. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, a great scholar and acharya in the line of a Matpara, remarks, Mat Bhakti Prabhavena सर्वेन्द्रिय विजय पूर्विक स्वतम दृष्टि तु लभेति भावः. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. Also, the example of fire is sometimes given. As a blazing fire burns everything within the room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of the yogi, burns up all kinds of impurities. The Yoga Sutra also prescribes meditation on Vishnu and not meditation on void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than the Vishnu form simply waste their time in vain search after some phantasmagoria. We have to become Krishna conscious, devoted to personality of a Godhead. This is the aim of real yoga. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful purport. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So very nicely, like there are a lot of main points in this sloka, but most important aspect is Tani Sarvani Samyame Yukta Vairagyam. Yukta means you have to perform, you have to engage. You cannot say I will not. Okay, that is the main important. Mat Paraha. Okay, Mat Paraha is where Prabhupada wonderfully brings the example of Ambarish Maharaja and Durvasa Muni, right? So we all know this story very clearly. And then in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami talks about very important aspect of plurality in devotional service, with singularity in devotional service. In Navavida Bhakti, each of our organs we engage one thing for one aspect, like, and then each of devotees are glorified for one of them. So plurality is that aspect, but here singularity in devotion, which means what? One person, but engaging all is one activity within the same parlance, same view, and then performing a devotion service. So either being a singularity or plurality, both have their own benefits, But Ambarish Maharaj is glorified because he was able to bring all the plurality together in one aspect and then focus on his devotion service. For example, Hanuman, Dhasya Bhava. For example, Lakshmi Devi performing devotion service at the lotus feet of the Lord. So Akrura, always remembering. So there might be certain personalities who will exhibit devotion service from a singularity perspective. They are glorified, which is also perfect from a Navavidha Bhakti. The same Navavidha Bhakti from a singularity is glorified along with the plurality, which is what Ambarish Maharaj is. So Ambarish Maharaj exhibited the plurality of exhibit. So either way, it is absolutely fine. And if we are not able to do like Ambarish Maharaja, at least we have to attempt with the others also. Okay. So this sloka, this wonderful Bhagavatam prayers glorifies Ambarish Maharaja, and there are, if you go through the sloka itself very nicely, if you go through the purport of the sloka, last line is Yato Uttama Sloka Janarshreya. So Krishna is called as Uttama Sloka. Okay. Krishna is glorified in Uttama Sloka. Uttama Sloka means he is praised, his prayers are all for at the highest. So he is glorified by devotees and his name is called as Uttama Sloka. Okay. Pado Hare Kshetra. So the sloka by sloka we cannot go, but later on, whenever we get time, we can go into the sloka and understand this. And Mat Paraha, the word Mat Paraha is also very importantly emphasized. Okay, so with this particular section, we will conclude today. Meditating upon Lord Krishna, like how Maharaj Ambarish was able to do. So let us pray at the lotus feet of Krishna and then continue to have our senses controlled, our mind also controlled, our intelligence also in putting the right perspective. And only through Krishna conscious way, we will be able to control our senses. Okay. So in the next section, we'll get into the topic of mind control and intelligence. That is the step-by-step of the cause of actions, cause of desires and everything. So the last line is also very important. What will happen is, as a blazing fire burns everything within a room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of the yogi, burns all kind of impurities. Okay. So what will happen is, desires are the cause of our feeling, willing, thinking, the mind. And because of that cause of that, then our actions come. And because of that actions, we get the reactions and so on and so forth. So again, to emphasize on that point, sometimes when our desires are invoked by the Paramatma sitting inside us, he will know which is correct, which is incorrect. So when we fully dedicate ourselves to the desire of the Lord, because desires are required, there is nothing called there is no desires. The desire will be there, but the desire will be channelized perfectly by the Paramatma sitting inside. He Basmasat Kurtejna. He will make all the other impurities to Basma. He will make everything different. He will invoke certain desires, but that desires will be very beneficial for that particular person. Okay, so we have to pray to the Lord, please give me good desires so that I don't get wrong thinking, wrong feeling, wrong willingness, wrong actions. So I like to have desires, then the desires are all focused towards Padaraminda. Okay? Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Today's section we saw about moving from a karma yoga to a person of steady state with intelligence. So Arjuna is asking a very wonderful question. How do I understand this personality who you mentioned as a person with Sita Pragya? And Krishna starts answering that section where Sita Pragya is always equipressed. Krishna Sita Pragya will be always ensuring his senses are controlled. Sita Pragya will be able to pull his senses whenever it is required through, similar to this tortoise, and Sita Pragya will never get agitated. And Sita Pragya, what he will do actually, he will do all these actions towards pleasing Krishna. So what is the ultimate benefit? Ultimate way of doing it is through a Krishna conscious way. So irrespective of whether differentiating between a normal Muni and a Sthitadhir Muni. Okay. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions, Prabhu? So I think Sachichuda Prabhu had a point or a question. No.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, where the recording is loaded.
Yeah. Okay.
Any link provided?
I'll show you. Wait.
Okay.
Let me see whether it is there. Yeah, I'll just show the entire screen. That's okay. I'll show the entire screen. So if you go to, you're able to see the screen?
Yeah, Prabhu.
you able to see the screen, Prabhu? No.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, we can
Yes,
see.
Prabhuji, we are seeing YouTube.
Yeah. So if you go to playlist in this is the channel. Um, so there are many. Where is that? Okay, I'll give you the playlist. Wait, let me see. Okay, so this is all other classes playlist. So tomorrow we are going to go into this portion. We go to this playlist, view playlist. There is a playlist called Bhakti Shastri 2026 GRS batch, 26 year batch. Okay, and in this batch you will get the whatever till last class I have already uploaded. So how the section will be: Bhakti Shastri GRS, this will be the title, Bhakti Bhagavad Gita chapter, and then part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Whatever be the sections, you will be able to see it here. Okay.
Okay, bro. Thank you, bro. Just give one of the link.
Yeah, I'll give you the link. You
How
just
will we get access to the link?
yeah. It is a YouTube only link now. Let me take this.
Okay. It's not private, right? Public.
It's public only, bro. Yeah, I think everybody. It's a public only. I think mostly it is public only.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can access it.
Yeah. Maybe I'll put that. I'll send it to you. Where is it? Okay, I'll send it to you. Okay. Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji. Hare